Let's talk about one of a homeowner's absolute worst nightmares. That sound of rushing water where it should not be. Water damage feels like this sudden, out-of-control emergency. But here's the thing, it can absolutely be managed if you have the right knowledge. So let's dive into how you can take that crisis and get it back under control.
Okay, just imagine this for a second. It's 2 in the morning and you're woken up by a burst pipe. What do you do first? What's that very first move? It's a question that could literally save you thousands of dollars, and knowing the answer before disaster strikes is just, well, it's critical.
And believe me, that is not an exaggeration. The second water invades your home, a clock starts ticking. Every single minute that goes by, that water is spreading further, it's soaking deeper, and it's causing more complicated, way more expensive damage. The stakes are incredibly high right from the get-go.
So let's really get a handle on the problem. Think of water in your home as this uninvited guest. It doesn't belong, it doesn't wait for permission, and it gets into absolutely everything.
There's this quote that really just nails it. Water doesn't wait, and neither do we. It perfectly captures the mindset you have to have. It's the core principle of any real emergency response. The professionals have to move just as fast as the damage is spreading. There is simply no time to waste.
Now, you might think water damage is the same everywhere, but it's not. The environment plays a massive role. And we're going to look at why a place like Clermont, Florida presents this really unique and frankly accelerated set of challenges.
In Central Florida, it's kind of like the perfect storm of factors. You've got these intense summer thunderstorms that can just overwhelm everything. Then you have older homes with aging pipes that can spring these tiny hidden leaks. The humidity? It's so high all the time that HVAC systems are constantly working, producing gallons of condensation that can overflow. And of course, you've got appliances like water heaters and washing machines that can just fail, totally out of the blue.
And in that Florida heat and humidity, here's the number that changes everything: 24. That's how many hours it can take for mold to start growing. It just shows you how fast a simple water problem can become a serious health hazard.
This right here is so important to understand. The puddle of water on your floor, that's the obvious part. But the real enemy, the thing you have to worry about, is the hidden moisture. It's the water that wicks up into the drywall, that soaks into your subfloors, and gets trapped inside the wall cavities. That is what leads to long-term rot, structural decay, and that awful musty smell you can never seem to get rid of.
So, we get the problem, right? But how do the pros actually fix it? Well, they don't just show up and start mopping. They have a structured, 3-phase playbook that's designed to take all of that chaos and bring it back under control.
Okay, first, there's a really key distinction you gotta know. There's mitigation and there's restoration. Think of mitigation as stopping the bleeding. It's the emergency response, getting the water out, setting up drying equipment, just preventing the damage from getting any worse. Then you have restoration. That's phase 2. That's all about repairing and rebuilding everything to get your home back to exactly how it was before.
So this road to recovery is a really clear step-by-step process. First, it's all about extraction. We're talking massive pumps to get all that bulk water out fast. Then comes the really critical structural drying phase. This is where they use all the specialized equipment to pull that hidden moisture out of the materials. And only after everything is proven to be dry does that final restoration and rebuilding actually begin.
And none of this is guesswork. Professional water damage response is a science. It's guided by industry standards and some pretty advanced technology to make absolutely sure the job is done right the first time.
And here's a key insight for you. A professional's job isn't done when things just feel dry to the touch. No way. It's done when their calibrated moisture meters and thermal cameras prove that the materials are back to a safe, acceptable dry standard. That scientific proof is what gives you peace of mind. And just as important, it's what your insurance company needs to see.
It also turns out not all water is created equal. The pros actually classify it into categories. You've got category 1, which is clean water, like from a burst supply line. But if that water just sits there, it can degrade into category 2, or gray water, which has contaminants. And then you have category 3, or black water. Think sewage backups or floodwater. That's a serious health risk that requires completely different safety protocols to handle.
So to tackle all this, they bring in a whole arsenal of specialized tools. Thermal cameras let them literally see hidden moisture behind walls. Moisture meters give them the hard data they need. And then, it's like an army of commercial-grade dehumidifiers and high-velocity air movers gets to work, creating this controlled drying environment to pull every last bit of moisture out of the air and the structure itself.
Okay, so we've looked at the problem and the professional solution. What does this all mean for you? Let's put together your emergency action plan. What are the very first things you should do the moment disaster strikes?
All right, this is your playbook. First thing, if it's safe to do so, find and shut off the main water valve to your house. Next, go to your circuit breaker and kill the power to the wet areas. Water and electricity are a seriously dangerous mix. Then, move what you can. Photos, important documents, anything valuable. Now for a big don't, do not use your household shop vac. It's not rated for that much water and can be a huge shock hazard. But the most important step of all, don't wait. Make your very first phone call to a certified professional.
And we'll end with this thought. It's the one question that really sums up everything we've talked about today. Getting rid of the visible water, that's just a beginning. True recovery, true peace of mind, is all about finding and eliminating that hidden moisture that causes all the long-term damage, making sure your home isn't just dry, but truly safe.